What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Joshua Martin, and this is the first time I'm making a video of me sitting down, and it feels weird. But hey, welcome to Raw. This web series be about the breakdown of photography or cinematography based on lighting processes, based on editing techniques, based on the concept and theory. And so let's jump right into it, shall we? So the reason why this web series came about, there was somebody who commented on one of my images, particularly this image, on my Instagram account, and they said, "This is so good. I'd love to know more about the process behind this." And me, I'm like, oh, duh, yeah, I could totally talk about the process about, certain images that I've created that have been really popular. All right, enough of me blabbering on. Let's jump right into this image of Tequila, which is called Undefined. Now let's backtrack real quick, and I want to show you guys the earlier photos we took. Now, originally the plan was I wanted to go in and I wanted to do some beauty lighting that focused more about the skin and other techniques that are very crisp, very high key. And I did have an assistant. This is the background. This is the behind the scenes photo. This is Heidi. And yeah, I wanted to have that look. And so as we progressed throughout the time that I had with Kayla, I wanted to switch it up, and we started to do some fashion things, as you can see here. And then as it progressed, we got to the image that is the most popular, which is this one. And I want to show you guys that this little trick of this blur, this is not in Photoshop. This is actually my glasses. Here's something to remember if you want to, try out some different aesthetics with your images. If you ever put a glass in front of a lens, it will always distort. So with glasses, it's concave, so there's a little curve to it. So as you can see, I started to play with it at the top. Eventually, I slid it down right over her face, and I remember my excitement because I was like, "Wow, that looks great!" Because now this gives a totally different mood. And actually, let's break down the lighting setup. I'm going to speed this video up because my drawing on here sucks. So yeah. So here is the lighting diagram, and as you can see, it's very simple. One large light source. Yes, I know this is a masterpiece, don't hate. Which is an 8-foot octobox. I was shooting with a Canon 6D 24-70 f2.8, and I was shooting at f4. So that indicates that I had this power outage probably at around 1/16th power. If this is your first time seeing this number, this is the power outage for the light. And just a quick lesson: 1 and 1 is full power. 1 and 2 is half power. 1/4 quarter power, and so on and so forth. And so these numbers here give you the power outage for whatever studio flash you're using. I had this at a low power. This is technically a low power, and so that's why I was shooting at f4. I could show you that indication here that says I was shooting at 1/25th at f4 at ISO 160. So yeah. All right, and that's it for the lighting diagram. Very simple. And let's move on to the actual editing file. Initially, when I saw the raw file, I instantly thought, oh, this needs to feel kind of cold, in a way pale to her skin, because as you can see, her skin's it still has life in it, but I wanted to pull that back a little bit and just make this feel quite cold, to that theme of, oh, what is beauty? I picked this technique up from Joe Grimes. The way he tones skin, I really like. It's kind of gritty. And I'm still learning how to apply this technique to a much more fair skin. I know how to do the technique to darker skin. It's very easy to do that, but when applying to paler skin, it's a little complicated. But let's just dive in. This is the layer here, and as you can see, it's kind of washed out, a little flat. And I was like, okay, I like that, because I liked how the background looked, and I liked how this haze looks. And what that basically is a smart object here, and then you right click on that object. Let's right click here, and you want to hit new smart object copy via copy, and that's going to make another layer on top. And then you double click that layer, and you want to come over to the grayscale, and you convert to grayscale, and then you will mess with these channels. Now what these channels will do, you're messing with the skin tone, because everybody's skin tone has either orange, pink, yellow. Come on, like we're the color of the rainbow, right? So once you find a spot that you like, and then you hit OK, it's going to be black and white. And the next thing you have to do is change the blending mode. Now, normally, if you really want it punchy and contrasty, you would leave it like on hard light, soft light, or overlay. But I was looking for a little bit more lighter and less contrasty, and then I could build up my contrast later. So I left it on screen, and that's what screen did for me. It gave me a flat, hazy, less contrast light. This layer here, let's just actually just name this cleanup. This layer, just whatever I saw that needed to be cleaned up. And the only thing was the little hair there. I got rid of that. Very simple, very minimal work. If you could do most of your stuff in camera, it will save you a lot of time in post. And so these two groups here, I started to add my contrast and I started to add my toning. Now the contrast is just a simple curves. Let's bring it over here. It's kind of like a weak S curve, but as you can see, I have control over it, how I wanted it to actually feel, and how much blacks I wanted to have. And then I added toning. Now toning, I use curves again, but what you do this time, you separate them. You can add a little bit more red there, a little bit more. Oh, I didn't reduce anything in green, but red and blue, that's what I moved with. And I added some blues in the shadows. This is where it's indicates. So highlights are on this side, shadows are on this side. So if you bring this up, it's going to add blue to your shadows, and you can see it here in her black shirt. And one thing I really wanted to keep is this detail in the shadow, because if I had it contrasty, it would be kind of black, and if I was to print this anywhere else, it's going to just kind of block up. So I left this very open. Now at the time, when I was editing this, I see I have a dynamic skin softener. I don't know what that program is for actually. So let's just turn that, oh, it's just a softener, that's all. Nothing too drastic. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna turn it off and turn it on. If you want to see, look at her lip. It's acting like a blur. And I guess I could keep that. And then one of the most important things is sharpening. And before I move on to the last layer, I wanted to show you guys some different sharpening techniques. So now, if you go up to filter and other, there's Highpass. And also you see here, there's also several different sharpening tools in this option here. But I mainly focus on unsharp mask and Highpass. What I learned from Highpass, let's see if I can bring up Highpass real quick. I'm going to click on Highpass. Now what I've learned from Highpass, now you want to be careful with the radius. The radius is the contrast. I don't know if you can start seeing. If I put it all the way up, yeah, that's too much. But you can see this little haze, this line here, right? So it's trying to, yes, let's leave it around 2 pixels, 2.5 pixels, right? So the thing with Highpass, you have to apply a blending mode on top of it. And so there's Highpass, right? I turn it on and off. You can see a slight, little bit more sharpening applied now. So let's turn that off, and then let's copy this again. Oops. Command J. And then now let's apply unsharp mask. Now this will give you a little preview here. All right, so depending on the size of your file, your image that you have, which will determine the amount that you apply. So if you really want to get this thing sharp, you have to play around with it. A sweet spot's around 90 and 125 for most cameras, and I leave the radius around 1. I think that's good enough right there. It's very subtle. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's go to 100. It's very subtle. Okay, this is sharpening for unsharp mask. Unsharp mask. back to spell mask. And this is Highpass. So as you can see, no sharpening, unsharp mask. No sharpening, Highpass. The thing you might run into most with Highpass is this fringing it will start to create, because it's adding contrast. Sharpening is just adding contrast, essentially. Maybe a little bit much, the more I think about it. So let's lower the opacity a little bit. Let's go to 60. And let's add a mask. And then let's paint away. Where's my brush? Let's paint away, because it doesn't really need, this doesn't need to be sharpened. This is blurred. This is blurred for a reason. There's no need for sharpening. So let's paint away. Actually, let's paint back. Let's just invert this. Let's go. Okay, let me just delete this mask. Oops. Delete. And then I'm gonna hold down Option and then click on the mask, and it's gonna give me a black mask. And so what that means, if I paint with white, I could paint back what I want to be sharp. So let's take this, it's 100, and I want to keep this fairly sharp, because that's the most detailed area. Maybe, no, let's keep the skin soft. Let's get this up here. And as you can see, that's where I've painted back to sharpness. And then the last thing here, oh, okay, I see what I did. I added some more blue into the highlights. So let's go into here. Kind of plateaued it a little bit there. It's been a while since I looked at this image, and I don't know how I feel about the blue tone yet. Maybe it's a bit much. Let's oh, it was already lowered. Ooh, yeah. Let's go to 25% instead this time, because I like the blueness. Now let me actually critique this. And this is open to anybody who wants to critique this, so please leave a comment of your thoughts below. As I think back over the whole shoot, it progressed from a very high key style, then it moved to a more moody fashionist style, then it moved to more fine art. And you're gonna find that a lot. The more you shoot, if you can utilize your time of your model, especially if they're free, if you utilize that time, take advantage of it and just try different styles, try different looks and everything. Because for me, this fits what I like to shoot. And so let me talk about it a little bit. So when I look at this image, trying to be non-biased, but when I look at it, it does question in a way what is beauty, especially in contrast with fashion, because fashion tells you what is beautiful. But in this image, it questions it. It questions it because, one, we can't see the person's eyes. Two, I love how this small detail here of her collar is kind of crooked. It's a very symmetrical image if you look at it, but then this little detail where it's slightly off just questions it's like it doesn't have to be perfect. And so, oops. It's soft, it's mysterious, and I just love the aesthetic of this. This is probably one of my favorite images I've taken. But yeah, this is the first video for Raw. Kind of rough, but I hope you were able to learn something, and it'll just become better as I practice talking more and actually plan out exactly what I need to say and things like that. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Please comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. And until then, I'll talk to you guys later.